one issue. Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, it looks like we got a quorum. So first up will be the warrants. Go ahead. Brad, you have the general fund.
All right, excuse me, general fund warrant, looked through earlier. And the total, yeah, but sorry. That sheet's not right at the top here. All right, we did pull it up here. All right, the total on this warrant is $341,523.94. Of that amount, 341,000, it's an approximate. There are really just four big items on it this time. One of them is the contract that we have with is it AmCare, right? Is the name of it?
Yes.
It's $41,700. I do see our first bill for our city town police contract came through $87,900. I'm sorry,
That's actually the last of the first year.
for the, okay.
Yeah,
for what-
startup. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha, for our pre-contract costs, okay. 100, just over $100,000 for the Franklin County tax. And again, Anna, that's quarterly, correct? That's
That's the whole
yearly,
year.
okay.
Yeah. Two payments.
Just 100,000,
Did
okay,
more.
not too bad. And then just about $75,000 was for the stormwater utility expenses that we've discussed at length and move over that way. So of the 341,000 approximate, those four things are over 300,000 of it. So looking through, I'd make a motion that we pass this general fund warrant as presented.
Unmute you, Brandon.
Second.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Payroll warrants as well. All right, we got two payroll warrants. First one is dated July 5th, 2024. That one's in the amount of $37,780.01. The second one is dated July 12th, 2024. That one's in the amount of $32,644.05. Both look in line and regular with what we normally see. Make a motion that we pass both of those payroll warrants as presented.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, in front of me, we have the miscellaneous warrants. We have one here, federal opera fund warrant, on $13,649. Some towing, stone repair, and then looks to be a shed, a new creations.
Yeah.
What are we doing with the shed?
It's the store equipment, just in general equipment. Yeah. And it's using the same footprint of the, there's already a concrete footprint there for the dumpsters. So we're just using it for that.
Where's this? Bay
It's-
Park,
what's that?
of the Bay Park?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Okay, so federal opera fund warrant in the amount of $13,649. Might want to make a motion to approve.
That's right. Is that different than the one we got sent
Yeah,
to
it
us
is
last
amended.
week? Okay, because I didn't see that, so I was a surprise. Did you ask for the motion?
I did that.
So moved.
Second. I mean, so where are the dumpsters gonna go, Sean? If we're taking a slab that was for dumpsters and putting the shed on it? My only other question.
I think I got that.
Where's the dumpsters going?
I think nearby, that was actually my first question was, I didn't even realize personally that they were on a concrete footing, that was that large in the first place. And the DPW is completely comfortable with them being just essentially right next to it. Yeah.
All in favor?
Did he say?
Aye.
I think
He
so.
did.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, next up, I'm just gonna do the rest of them. Figure out. The infrastructure development warrant in the amount of $74,837.67, and that's for the
Who said the
south,
top?
Route 7 South sidewalk.
Mhm.
And then, next warrant is the storm water utility warrant, in an amount of $1,474.30. And that looks like the Farm Shore scoping study from Fitzgerald and Mott Environmental Associates.
Mhm.
And the next one is the industrial park warrant in the amount of $732.92, and that's the GMP Fremont Power electrical for the industrial park. And next up, last, there's the Stonehouse warrant in the amount of $20,335.72. And that's all the bands for the farmer's market, Friday Night Live, Bay Day, and also the sound.
Yep.
Anybody want to make a motion to approve those 4 warrants?
Yep, so moved as presented.
Brendan,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, in your packet, you have the minutes of July 3rd, 2024. Anybody want to make a motion to approve?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve those minutes as presented. Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next up, public comment.
You
Anybody
have
here?
another set of minutes. July 1st was your regular meeting. July 3rd was the special meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That other one. Yep.
July 1st.
July 1st was the regular meeting. July 3rd was a special meeting. Somebody want to make another motion that I amended that?
Yep, make a motion to accept the amendment, both those meetings, July 1st and July 3rd.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Public comment. Anybody want to make a public comment? Okay. So next up is Vermont Transportation Consultant.
Mhm.
I guess it's 3.
Please.
Sean, you probably know these guys better than I
Yes.
do.
Yeah, well, first time I met them in person, but yeah, we've had a lot
Yeah.
of meetings. Yeah. You guys want to introduce yourself?
Great, yes, my name is Corey Mack. I
Hi.
am a transportation engineer and planner with the Law Consult Group, the VCG.
And I'm Mike LaCroix. I work for V-Trans. I'm the project manager for the scoping study and then the future design project that will occur here. With us is Ken Roby,
Mhm.
Wasted King, and together we have nearly finalized the scoping study or the revised scoping study for this intersection. Essentially, why we're here today is because the project definition team has selected a preferred alternative that could potentially go forward to design. We're here to essentially seek town's endorsement for that. Essentially, it's like a blessing, if you will. While the state owns both of the highways in question, we do like to have the the endorsement of the town, because it is in your town and you guys are going to be the ones directly affected by this project and hopefully experience the positive outcomes of it in the long run. So tonight, that's what we're here for. I think I'll turn it over to Corey to just kind of give a 5-minute, just quick run through of what happened through the scoping study, where we got to where we are, and then hopefully come out of here with a vote from you folks as to whether we like the preferred alternative or not. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Is this good to have as the?
Sure,
Share
yeah,
the screen.
so I did prepare a presentation. Hopefully you've had a chance to review the document. There's been a report, and then there's this website here that's kind of got all of the information laid out as it was developed. It's kind of been a living document throughout, so it's got a lot of the information in a very deep dive into the data and all the investigation and analysis that we've done. So as I'm sure you're all aware, the intersection has been studied for a number of years. And this was essentially a refresh of those previous studies to update the data, update the crash analysis and the history that's changed in the last 10 years since the last study. We went through that process. We modernized the designs of the roundabout and the signal and made sure it was accommodating the traffic volumes that were expected into the next planning horizon. And that's all presented in these reports. We held a public meeting about 2 months ago to the day, actually.
I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there. Jack was there. I think Megan was there. Al, were you there? I can't remember. And Sean, I don't remember if you
I was not
there.
there that day.
Yeah, quite,
Yeah.
quite,
Pop
a
was in
couple
And
of us.
there was some members from Walk Bike St. Albans there. And so we had a really good conversation, I feel like, about the intersection. And, generally transportation systems, in the region. And, following that meeting, we actually made some revisions to the designs, the roundabout in particular. We changed so that there are only single lane exits on all the approaches, and that was really in response to a lot of the concerns from the Walk Bike St. Albans group and, pedestrian safety in particular. And so, we made those revisions. We reconvened as a group, a stakeholder group, which included members of the town, the city, the RBC, V-Trans, just general stakeholders. And just reviewed these final revised alternatives and came up with a preferred alternative recommendation for the roundabout design. That's consistent with the previous analyses. So I think that it's kind of in line with what has been discussed as the preferred treatment at this intersection for a number of years. And I think the next step is really to move forward and implement it. And so that's sort of where we're at now.
Just FYI, me and Megan were on the stakeholder
Gotcha.
town representation.
Yeah, I mean, sorry,
Go
John.
ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, the meeting I thought was, you guys did a great job presenting a lot of stuff. Obviously, there were a lot of people kicking the tires, wanting to make sure that you thought of everything, and it seemed like you did. I just had a couple questions I'd written down because it looks like in the study there with all the data, it's looking at 2025 and 2045, right? Obviously, I'm concerned a little bit more with 2045 just because we want to make sure this is built for 2045. First question on that. I mean, obviously 2025 is 1 year from now. So there's not much no major trends can probably happen that would affect that data. 2045 is 20 years down the road. I'm just wondering, like, how high is the confidence level that the 2045 data is probably going to be pretty accurate, if that makes sense. I know it's 20 years down, but you guys are in the business of doing this. How accurate do you think that projection would be?
So we went through a very robust process of evaluating, past growth trends and looking into future growth trends. And we kind of, did our best to project it. But as you're saying, 20 years in the future, a lot can change in how people are driving, where people are driving, if they're even driving, that type of thing.
Yeah.
We think that's or at least I believe that the projections that we developed are, going to be as accurate as we can project at this point.
Yeah.
It's a higher growth rate than what is projected across the state.
What was that growth rate? I didn't see it in there, and I know it takes into account that there's, as it's put in there, some greenfield, a lot, 270 acres that's there that could be developed in the next 20 years.
Yes.
So all of that data is taking into account some kind of growth in that area, right?
It does. So there were two things that we did. We did a general just background growth of, I think it was like a 1.5%. It was different based on the approaches. And then we did also include just the development potential of that northern half of the all that greenfield up there that could be developed. So we included both of those things. So a high background rate and then pretty dense development adjacent to the intersection. And that's what kind of leads into those 2045 volumes. If you look at past studies, they did the same type of thing, and clearly that northern development hasn't occurred. So past studies, 20-year projection out, which is about now, never came to fruition.
Yeah.
So we're probably overestimating to some degree to suggest that 2045 volume will occur because we're assuming both a high growth rate in the background plus a very dense development adjacent. More likely, that dense development will be that high growth, that higher growth rate. I don't know if that makes any sense. The growth rate encompasses that development adjacent to it.
Gotcha.
So we're
Yeah,
kind
it
of
does.
double counting it to some degree. That's one method of just making sure that you don't build something and then it's for capacity the next day.
I'm just going to mention, and that's why I want to ask that question first, but I mean, the number one thing in there and it makes total sense to me, the roundabout, less severe crashes. You can see it because it says it's almost like side swipes instead of T-bones and maybe, God forbid, running head on. I mean, it's just not going to happen. It's likely not many people running red lights in a roundabout. And then the second part, though, is about efficiency. And I'm trying to find where it is in here. Congestion modeling, I think it is. I don't know if you can find that on there. Congestion modeling, and then down with the
Okay.
charts where which has a nice grading system, A through F. I was looking at where we're at like now.
Down.
And it's like, or I'll say the 2025 scenarios, it's basically like an F right now. If we leave it like it is in the AM, PM, everything on all of those different directions, northbound, the whole thing. Looking ahead at 2045, I was thinking of my own son in high school here. So this expanded signal one basically has a lot of C's. Thinking of a high school student here, a lot of C's and a couple D's in there. And the hybrid one has some A's, some B's, but also has the only F. And then that's where I was coming back to. It's almost like choosing between having a consistent average student and one who's really good here and not so great there. And the F there because that's the only thing that they keep coming back to. In 2045, if we have the roundabout during peak hours, the morning and the afternoon, it's going to be the same as it is now, right?
Definitely not the same as it is now. So, that does have this reduced level of service there. So there's two ways to do the level of service. It's delay based or it's volume or like capacity based. And so if you look on that table, it says, I think, like 0.99, I think, or 1.01 there. So that is showing that it's just like really close to capacity. So that's sort of like just that one approach. And again, like this is all like evaluating 40, 20 years into the future. So like if the volume projections are a little off, like that number might not, be quite exactly there. So I think that it's important to look at the overall as well as, those individual approaches. But if you look to the far left columns, those are all F's.
Oh, exactly. And I guess I should have compared it again with the expanded signal one. I'm just saying that that's the only time where the hybrid is not as good in this sense. Again, setting aside safety and all that. I just wanted to ask you about that. Because it's F versus a D if it was expanded signal, and E versus a C if it was wherever we're at the PM area. Is there anything that could be done to help make the F and E, not so bad? Once you're in a roundabout, I mean, is there any way to make that even more efficient? And with that said, I know you guys mentioned a 2-lane roundabout originally, and then you switched it to a 1, which probably makes sense. Would it 2 in the future? People get 20 years of practice driving in a roundabout. Would a 2-lane have negated that more, or would it still be the same?
Yes, to answer that question, yes, that would increase the capacity of the roundabout and improve that leg to be above a level of service at F. And that was originally when we presented this at the public meeting, that was not a level of service F or E on those two approaches. But as we revised the design to be accommodating single lane exits on all approaches, that kind of changed how we did the modeling too. So it's like that push and pull of priority. And as you're saying, or as I think you're saying, that could be modified in the future to make that a second lane exit. And that is in particular the eastbound approach from the SASH, basically going through to I-89. So that could be a 2-lane entrance into a 2-lane exit, pretty simply. That would be a pretty simple modification to that.
Okay, that was my only real hesitation. So there is a possibility in, say, 15 years from now to modify the roundabout, make it even more efficient, or maybe even 2 parts or 1 part of it, the eastbound would have 2 lanes and the rest still has 1. That's a
You'd be having that
possibility.
Conversation then about, priority, like, is it worth the additional risk to pedestrians? That may be, the choice at that time. And there may be, advances in technology
Yep.
or some other way. I mean, collision warning systems are so much better than they were even 10 years ago, so.
You'll be retired anyway.
Exactly, won't be fine, sure.
I may be too, so.
There is capacity upgrades that could occur in the future, but it comes at that expense of, pedestrian crossing. Amenity.
Yeah, and that's an important point too, right? Because, well, congestion is an issue here, and some would even argue that it's probably the primary driving force behind this project. We do need to make it safer for all the users, but then we also have to accommodate a new mode of transportation that is not currently being accommodated out there, and that's bicyclists and pedestrians. So we have to look at this holistically. So while there might be some sacrifices in vehicular capacity on some approaches at certain hours of the day, generally speaking, it's a much better overall intersection because it is safer for all users, but it also accommodates those other modes of transportation. So that, it's kind of a balancing game that we have to strike. Something else we could do during the design process is maybe not necessarily build out the infrastructure of the roundabout to accommodate a second lane, but maybe we acquire enough property so that it leave that option open to widen or expand the roundabout in the future. With little, for a smaller investment, if it ever needed to come to that. I can tell you just based on experience that we haven't ever had to do that. In fact, we've actually shrunk roundabouts in Vermont rather than expanded them. So if this was ever a case where it needed to be expanded, I think you're looking at something in the, 50-year time frame or whatever, but all of this will depend on how the area grows. So there's a lot of speculation there, but we're confident that the hybrid roundabout with the single lane exits will do the job that this, that this intersection.
Will traffic be stopped for pedestrians to cross the Sash?
The roundabout alternative, no, it's a yield condition, so they approach the roundabout crossing. And it's only like 1 or 2 lanes of traffic, two lanes on the entrance, which usually they're going very slow, so it's easy to make eye contact and have them yield. And then on the exiting, again, you have to then cross 1 lane of traffic. And make eye contact and have them, yield.
I guess I don't understand how large the perimeter is. Because if I'm crossing the street and I walk very slowly, I can't believe I walk over to stop traffic.
So the nice thing about the roundabout is you're only ever crossing 1 or 2 lanes of traffic at a time. Plus, there's also an activated button to push. So there will be like a warning device,
Okay.
but it won't be.
And by law, the
stop.
cars have to stop.
I think it reminds you. It's.
6,500. Yeah.
But yeah, I get worried about pedestrians getting across that. I do agree, though, that you should buy the land now. Because it'll appreciate, who knows what'll be developed on either those 4 corners, which may make it impossible.
It was just a statement, Corey. You don't have to respond. That was just a statement, Corey. You didn't have to respond.
I mean, it is a good point to acquire it, if possible, to have that expansion. And really the critical one to have 2 exits would be on the Sash. It's not like every single approach has to have 2 exiting lanes. It's just on the entrance there to I-89. So.
Do they allow pedestrian traffic on the Sash?
Right now, legally. No.
No, right, legally.
I think he's talking about
People
crossing,
do.
yeah.
but-
Just crossing on 104.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, ideally, we'd have our our, hopefully our bike path in, and that's
Mhm.
when we'll have to.
Yeah, you guys are gonna pay for the bridge, right?
You know. I mean, and I think it saw in the study and remember from your meeting, I mean, if it was the 3 lane or 4 lane, expanded signal, it's still quite a thing. For now pedestrians have to cross potentially 6 lanes of traffic, right?
Yeah.
And it really, not that safety is number one, but number two is that really slows the whole cycle down, correct?
It does, and also, crossing 6 lane of traffic is 3.5 feet per second is kind of a hustle, right? Like, you have only your 17 or 18 seconds to make that
Yeah.
move. And if you miss a couple of seconds because you're on your phone or something, then you end up stuck in the middle of the intersection, so.
I think just one more question. When I was at the meeting, and then talking to some people afterward, I got the sense some people didn't support a roundabout. But I got the sense it wasn't because they've been through a lot of roundabouts and didn't like them. It was more, maybe they weren't familiar with the roundabout. It seems very different. Can you talk a little bit about that in your experience? Is that what your experience is that you've actually seen, or is that,
That was.
am I imagining it?
That sentiment was not a surprise to me. Having been involved with the installation of many roundabouts in Vermont, literally every single community that I've been involved with has had the same fears or skepticism about roundabouts. And almost every time it's just a lack of complete understanding of how they operate. Once they go in, people pick them up real easy, and almost all the communities we put them in have loved them, if you will. I was just at St. Albans Day, just driving around for a few minutes, and I drove around the, whatever you want to call that, circle there.
I'm not sure what that's called.
Rotary, I think. it's what you call it.
Infinity symbol.
I guess it's a rotary or something like that, but the concepts are similar there. So folks that are exposed to that or have driven through that will already kind of have some familiarity with how this. They're not the same by any stretch of your imagination, but the speeds in this are going to be a lot slower. But a lot of the movements are, the roundabouts are designed such to force folks to slow down and pay attention.
Yeah.
And that's where they get their safety and efficiency from, and drivers that experience them in their towns for the first time pick that up pretty quickly. So there is a little bit of learning curve, but it's been pretty universally well received throughout. I think Vermont has 17 roundabouts now, and we still have another 4 or 5 in the books. I don't see St. Albans as being any different than any of those other communities.
Plus, it's not a double helix. So
It's not double
it's
what?
not a double helix,
Gotcha.
which is I
Okay.
think what they're doing down south, yeah. Something for me that I've kind of been harping on slowly with people that talk to me about it locally is that there's no silver bullet here. There's no, no matter what it ends up, you're still gonna have to slow down and brake. There's still gonna be times of traffic. So I kind of, when I talk to people, I'm like, hey, don't judge this on you thinking that you're just gonna drive, 35 through a straight and have nothing. This is kind of many years of work, and the preferred alternative is the word. So
Mhm.
it's gonna be a learning curve.
There is.
Yeah.
And something to your point earlier about Fs and Cs and Ds and stuff like that, and that back at that last chart was, you notice that all the signals in the current condition are all F, but you see the delay was over 100 seconds on average. But while the roundabout at that one particular time of day was an F, it was only a 63-second delay. So while it's an F, there's still a 40-second reduction in delay there, which people are going to notice almost immediately because traffic is moving more smoothly. They may be slower, but they're not sitting and waiting for a red light to turn green for 45, 60 seconds. They may be inching along, and there's a psychology driver behavior that as long as, there's a good feeling when your car is moving, even.
Yeah,
if it's-
progress.
So-
Yeah.
So I do feel like there's some value there that people don't always know.
And while that is reduced, that 40 seconds that you were saying, the southbound left is reduced to like 10 seconds, right? So what now people are waiting multiple cycles and frustrated to turn left. They're just gonna, go really quickly through that intersection. And people probably will end up changing their driving behavior to then route through to take that southbound left versus going to.
Well, I saw someone last week southbound left waiting in line and I was in the right lane. Their light turned green and the first three cars went through and they were in the fourth car. They were on their phone.
Oh,
And all of a sudden the horns start going and they started going and it's turned red and they had to stop. I thought, oh my God, I would not be looking in that rearview mirror,
yeah.
But yeah, you're right. So the other one, you do have to pay attention. I mean, because I'm assuming in the, was it 2004 and the 2009 studies or 2002, whatever it was, probably the least best option at that time was the do nothing approach, I'm sure. And we somehow by default chose that both times. So, I mean, it's definitely the same here. I mean, I know in my lifetime, it's gotten worse to go through there. It's worse. Is this is going to happen? I know it says 2 to 5 years, but something's going to happen, right?
Something is finally gonna happen here, assuming the town endorses this for alternative. The agency could be starting design on it by the end of the calendar year. And then we're looking at a couple years to design, acquire the rights of way, get our permitting before we go to construction. So best case, you're probably looking at 4 to 6 years. So it's still a little ways out, but to your point, nothing happened before. Now the state is committed to actually making an improvement here. So we actually have some momentum. I want to keep maybe a bad pun, but put on the pedal, put on the gas, keep this project moving so it doesn't stall again.
Plus,
Yeah.
we're also working with V-Trans on that stormwater project right there too. So there's a lot of kind of hand in hand work.
Yeah, I'm actually excited for it
Mhm.
because the town needs a couple more roundabouts, in my opinion. So this will be a chance
About five.
for the residents to learn, well, no, we have, if you drove around over this way a little bit more, you'll see another impaired
We
intersection.
have our own 5 corners.
Yeah, we have our own 5 corners.
Yeah.
I think this is great. I mean, you have my full support on this.
I just wanted to ask those questions. I know people had a lot of questions at the meeting and I think I felt like you guys really addressed all of them and I could tell you had done it before and nothing would really surprise you. I'm sure it's the same questions in every community for something like this.
It's always exciting.
Yep.
It's never the
There we
same
go.
every time.
I'm just glad there are people out there that love traffic as much as you do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that can really push this forward. Yeah.
We have our days.
Yeah, I bet you do. Yeah. It's funny.
I don't know if Brendan has any more or anyone else. has
Brendan, do you have
questions?
anything to add?
Brendan.
No, I've enjoyed reading and listening tonight.
Okay.
I think it'll be a good thing. My only comment would be if we're gonna start with a single lane, maybe we should, from like a civil perspective and right of way acquisition perspective, definitely buy enough for the second. If that area booms commercially and that land gets developed, but I'm all for it. Thank you.
Thanks, Brendan.
I said I made motion if you want.
Do you need a motion or do you?
No, I think this is just, unless you guys want a formal,
want to follow?
I'd love to have a motion.
okay,
Yeah.
It's not a problem.
sure.
Just so we can put it into the.
Yeah, that'd be
final
fine.
scoping study and.
Yeah.
I'm just
That's
gonna
what you guys
call
want.
it I'm gonna title it what you have on here. So I'll make a motion that we pass or affirm or whatever the St. Albans STP 044-12 exit 19 Sash and Vermont 104 intersection scoping refresh as presented today.
Is that the right language?
Which
Okay.
which provides for the you have the hybrid roundabout, whatever the title was on there, that third option, the one that's recommended in there, accept the recommendations.
Perfect. Brendan, second, please.
Yep.
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
There we go.
I,
Aye.
aye.
22 years of work. There we go. Thank you, guys.
Crazy, yeah,
Thanks for coming in.
22 years. It's crazy.
I look forward.
We
to
also
driving
talked
through
about
it.
sidewalks for 20 years and they're building the first ones. right now.
I was in
Sorry,
high
Jeff.
school. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Megan. Check out Five Corners on your way out. Start game planning and everything. Yeah, take a left. Yeah.
You
you'll
definitely
see.
want to slow down when you go in
It's
there.
literally, it's that, no, it's this intersection right here. Yeah,
Off-road.
there's like five, I can call it five points, 5 corners. All right, yeah, I'll do it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, depending on which option you choose, there might be an ice cream star.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You don't have to do health officer. We did that last time. That's just the state side, but now. Fire Chief Matt Mulheron has suggested that we will reappoint, essentially renew Bob Cross as a fire warden. He's already in, so it's just a matter of basically the
Okay,
select board
so
signing
does
off.
anybody want to make a motion to appoint Harold Bob Cross as the town forest fire warden?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Brendan.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Okay, in your packet, you have the Rotary Club's.
Excuse me, there does need to be a motion that states you're appointing Matt Mulheron as the health officer. I have to send that in to the state.
But we did that last meeting.
No, they did not approve it. They recommended to the state.
Okay.
They've always made a motion to appoint.
So,
If you feel comfortable not doing it, then I'm just saying what we've done in the past. That's all up to you.
no,
I
well,
don't think it make a difference, I guess.
thanks, Jen.
Sure.
And then somebody make a motion to appoint Matt Mulheron as the town health officer effective August 1st, 2024 for a term of 2 years, expiring in 2026.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thanks, Jen. So in your packet, you had the 100 year anniversary of the Rotary service to the town of St. Albans. Did everybody have a chance to go through it? I take it the mayor signed this already, Sean?
Yeah, he's the one that brought it to us. Yeah. Yeah, just it signifies 100 years of St. Albans Rotary. Or the Rotary servicing St. Albans. It's a community leader. So I think it's September 22nd between the city and the town, just proclaiming it as St. Albans, what is it? Rotary Club of St. Albans.
Yeah, and I do know the town and city was talking about this even last year.
Yeah.
It's coming up now and, yep, so here it is.
Okay. Do we want to read it?
I think we should.
You want to read it? You want me to read it?
I can read it if you want, or it's up to you.
Go ahead.
All right, so proclamation, Rotary Club of St. Albans Day, September 22nd, 2024. Whereas the Rotary Club of St. Albans, Vermont was officially chartered on September 22nd, 1924, and whereas the Rotary Club of St. Albans celebrates this long history of service in our community in other parts of the world, and whereas many volunteer hours are served by Rotary members, including service to our local food shelves, working on food drives, managing a coat drive, financial literacy program, ski bus, supporting the local Rotary Interact Club, and various random acts of kindness. And whereas the Rotary Club of St. Albans has made significant investment in our community, including the Hardack Recreation Area, Collins Pearly Sports Center, Taylor Park Fountain, various walking and biking paths, playgrounds, youth programs, and athletics. And whereas the Rotary Club of St. Albans is part of Rotary International and their service efforts around promoting peace, fighting disease, including polio eradication, providing clean water, sanitation and hygiene, supporting education, growing local economies, and protecting the environment. And whereas the Rotary Club of St. Albans will celebrate 100 years of commitment to, quote, service above self, end quote, and building a stronger community. Therefore, I, Tim Smith, as mayor of St. Albans City, Vermont, and Jonathan Giroux as select board chairman of the town of St. Albans, Vermont, do hereby proclaim the day of September 22nd, 2024 as Rotary Club of St. Albans Day, in celebration of its 100 years of service to this community. We extend our deepest appreciation for their contributions and investments in our community. We wish the club the absolute best and all our support in continuing its commitment to service. In witness thereof, we have set our hands and caused the seal of the city and town of St. Albans to be affixed this 22nd day of September 2024. List Tim Smith as the mayor of St. Albans City, and Jonathan Giroux, select board chair, down of St. Albans.
Thank you, Brian. Having said that, would somebody like to make a motion to officially declare September 22nd, 2024 as the Rotary Club of St. Albans Day?
Yep, happy to make that motion.
Thank you.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
aye.
perfect.
Perfect.
Okay, Sean, town manager's report. It's all you.
Short report, just a simple Act 250 permit. I think it's public knowledge by now. I think we made a mention it previously. Ocean State Job Lot is moving into the old Peebles, right? Is that where
Yeah,
I get comments?
Yep.
Yeah, so they've already got their sign permit approved. This is just interior renovations, new receiving door dock, so I guess I won't give a date out for them, but it should be in the near future when they're open, so it's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
exciting.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
good. They have, and I've heard of them before, but obviously not around here. They have stores
Oh, yeah.
is it a regional store or national
I
store?
believe it's national. Yeah, I've got one in my hometown. Yeah, I love Ocean State Job Lot. It's just a whole lot of stuff. But it's in my experience, at least, very clean store. Very good deal. I feel like I should get paid for this advertisement. Yeah, but
You
no,
ain't
it's
gonna
a-
get much because only 30 people.
Yeah, right,
watch
yeah.
this.
yeah, I get a quarter per person. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a very good store. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do we need executive session tonight or anything?
I got two quick things.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, contract personnel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would somebody like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss?
Jonathan, you didn't go over the schedule.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
My bad.
Sorry, I've been so pushy tonight. My
no,
apologies.
Oh, you're keeping us in check. That's perfect. Sometimes I need that.
Okay.
Okay. The next select board meeting is Monday, August 5th and Monday, August 19th. Okay, now would somebody like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss a contractual and personnel matter where premature general public knowledge of the subject matter will place the town or persons involved at a substantial disadvantage. Further move to enter into executive session to discuss a contractual and personnel matter under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of Vermont statutes, and to invite the town manager and director of operations. You know something? I think that's finally right. Well, it's been different every time, and I think it actually,
Yeah, we're working through it.
I fixed
it's
it.
all one paragraph. It's nice. I like it.
So moved.
Okay.
Second,
Recording stopped.
Aye.
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 Thank you, guys.
Have a good night, Jen.
Thanks, you too.